Hello and welcome to the WhyKnox podcast brought to you by Visit Knoxville. My name is Jody Collins of Feral Giant and I'll be your host on this journey. What we'll be doing is interviewing different folks around Knoxville that make Knoxville the great place it is to live. We'll have staples that you see around town all the time, but we'll also have some lesser known folks, people behind the scenes that make this a great city. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. And if you'd like to share the podcast on social media, be sure to tag us at Visit Knoxville and use the hashtag WhyKnox. Without much further ado, here's the episode.
Chris Ford, Sweet Peas Barbecue.
Jonathan Ford, Sweet Peas Barbecue.
There you go. Thank you all for doing this. Are y'all both originally from here?
No.
No.
I grew up just outside of Atlanta.
Okay.
Marietta, Kennesaw area.
Okay. And
I was born in the the large city of Murray, Kentucky.
oh, that's a big city.
Yeah.
Metropolis.
Huge,
That's the word I was
huge
going
tourism
for.
right there. So what brought you here?
I moved. My family did move here when I was in elementary school. TVA. My mother got a position at TVA.
Okay.
And Sweet Peas brought me here. Chris was here, obviously, and yeah, that's how I ended up here.
You said your mom worked for TVA. What did your dad do?
My dad was a college professor.
Okay.
Then turned to salesman.
Okay. How about you? What did your folks do?
Growing up, my mom was just kind of like an office administrator.
Okay.
My dad actually did work kind of in food service. He managed a hospital food service department.
Okay. Okay. What got you into making barbecue?
I was a musician for a number of years, toured all over the country. Mainly, most of our touring was in the South. And that was kind of a hobby of the bands, going to barbecue places,
Okay.
any roadside shack we could find. So I kind of fell in love with it that way. We had a road manager that was from North Carolina that when we were home, we all lived in the same house. And we started making barbecue because we had a lot of people, and it was cheap to feed everybody on rehearsal weeks. So it was just a hobby for me. And then when I got out of the business, I needed a job, and I felt like there was no backup plan. And other than playing music, I'd spent a lot of time in barbecue restaurants.
Okay. And what made you bring Jonathan in?
Well, I was just originally the idea was to just be catering because I didn't have really any restaurant experience, other than like a job here or there in college, and I didn't really want to take all that on. And the catering company was growing, and Jonathan, who is my cousin, I don't know if we mentioned that, but at family functions, I found out he was in the restaurant business.
Okay.
And so he moved up here, and his deal was I'd teach him barbecue if or he would come up learn barbecue if I would open a restaurant that he could run.
Was that a big decision to move here for the restaurant?
At the time, no, I didn't.
Okay.
If I'd have thought about it a little harder, I may have had second thoughts, but I was just all in. I didn't really give it. It just sounded exciting. I didn't have a lot. I was young. I didn't have a lot tying me to Atlanta. I mean, family. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I love my family, but I wasn't married. I wasn't really seeing anybody at the time. So I said, "Why the heck not?"
How long has Sweet
Nice
Peas
catch.
been around?
I started in around 2006.
Okay.
So, but those first couple of years were pretty lean. I was a stay-at-home dad, and it was all out of my house.
Okay.
So we opened the first restaurant in 2009.
Okay. And the original location is kind of in a little bit of an odd spot out south. What made you choose that location?
Well, one, because Johnny did move up here to open a restaurant, and two, a friend of mine knew the owner and said due to the fact that this place had been so many different things, he was willing to do anything to get a tenant in there. And one of those things was to give it to that tenant for free.
Nice.
So, we did that restaurant on a $20,000 budget, free rent for a year. And some of my mentors here in town that are in the restaurant business, I kind of pitched this to everyone, and they all thought it was stupid not to do it, that you were never going to get an education for $20,000, even if it didn't pan out.
Right.
You learned a lot, and for very cheap.
Okay. So you were a musician before this. Jonathan, what did you do before this?
Well, I mean, my first job was McDonald's. I was 15. So I would literally, for the exception of a short stint where I worked for my buddy's dad, I have worked in restaurants my whole life.
Okay.
I think at the time I was managing, when I moved here, I was managing like a fast casual type restaurant in Atlanta.
Okay. Did the pace of Atlanta versus Knoxville, did you find any apprehension in that, or did you like that it was a little bit more local?
Well, back to what I said before, if I'd have thought about it more, I'm not saying I wouldn't have come by any means, because I love Knoxville, I really do.
Yeah.
I would come to, my family came here every year for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And I loved Knoxville, but that was 2 and 3 days at a time.
Okay.
But to answer your question, I guess, yeah, it was a bit of a slowdown for me.
Okay.
But not in a bad way. I mean,
but in a good way.
Yeah.
Well, and also his timing was good because Knoxville really is, in the last 10 years. Johnny's been here, I think,
11
years.
Yeah.
I mean, in those 11 years, the city's really grown.
Yeah. So you all also do some interesting things. One down here at the downtown location, another at the south, the Taste and Toast and the Wednesday night concerts. Can you talk a little bit about the Taste and Toast? How that came about, what it is?
Taste and Toast. When we first opened this place, we were looking for a way to give back to the community, something that worked for everybody, not just the community, but for us as well.
Right.
Knoxville really supports all of its charities and organizations, and it's not hard to find people to get on board for something like that. We had a great assistant GM at the time, Gina Truitt, who was really excited about any and all projects that are things. And
she's a Knoxville staple in her own.
Yep.
So, with her help, we threw this idea together, and it has been, awesome.
Yeah. And I remember, I think when you all first opened, it was the time of Rhythm and Blooms one year.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine at the end of the night, about 1 a.m, said, "I've ate 4 burritos today."
We opened up our opening weekend. We opened on a Thursday, right? And that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday was
Big Ears.
It was Big Ears.
And then Rhythm and Blooms was just 2 weeks after.
Because I remember, this was my staple during the entirety of Rhythm and Blooms.
We jumped in the deep end.
So, and then the Wednesday night shows are out at the South location.
Yep. Songwriters in the Soul House. Well, again, being a musician, I wanted to have some sort of musical tie to the brand.
Okay.
And again, we've been doing that series now for 6-7 years. And at the time, again, before there was just so much stuff, there wasn't really a good concert series, middle of the week that, people could take their kids to, that ended early, started early. So we kind of thought that was a void that,
Yeah.
And, it was all the way out. We are a little out of the way. It's a beautiful setting in the summer and spring.
Yeah.
So.
Who are some of the bands that have played there?
Holly, we've Webb Wilder, Randall Bramlett,
Raylan Baxter, pretty big name now.
I'm trying to remember his real name. Reckless Eric.
Reckless Eric played there. That's right.
I can't remember his real name.
The Glossary.
Yeah.
Who's the last of the full-grown men? Who's
Webb Wilder?
Oh, you said that.
Yeah, we've had a lot of really great acts.
And then good local acts like Mick Harrison.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin Abernathy.
Tim and Susan.
Oh, always. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Tim and Susan.
Jeff and Sarah Barbara.
Yeah. And you all also do annual birthday parties for
we do
for that location.
We do the Smoking Day Fest.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like our little festival, if you will. Again, these are always free too. For us, it's a reason to promote. It brings people in. Can't beat free.
Yeah. Well, and it's delicious food.
Yeah, well,
not
yeah.
Not waxing
growing
poetic
up
or anything.
when I would, and when we were on the road, we'd play a lot of these places like, Pig Fest at the Variety Playhouse in Atlanta with a lot of little music festivals connected to barbecue. So I knew I wanted to have something like that.
Yeah. Who are some of the nonprofits that have benefited from Taste and Toast?
Oh, IAMS,
Boys and Girls
Club,
a Women's Fund,
Bridge Refugee,
Bridge
Women's
Refugee.
Fund.
We did.
I mean, we've done 30 of them.
Okay.
We should know more than this. And then some people we've done twice. Interfaith Health Clinic, that was a good one.
Okay. Going back to the music, so what got Gran Torino started, and when did you start that?
That was this summer of 1995.
Okay.
I just been, me and my best friend from childhood, Todd Overstreet, who's the bass player at Gran Torino, had just gotten out of a band, and we'd kind of come to the conclusion that this is what we wanted to do for a living.
Okay.
So after that band folded, we started a new band with we were a lot more focused and knew what we wanted to do. So
Okay.
college started it.
So what are some of the places you go to around town other than Sweet Peas?
I love a lot of places around town. Again, Knoxville's such an awesome community, especially the downtown areas. I mean, we are friends with almost every restaurant owner down here, so we support all of the downtown restaurants.
Okay.
Matt Gallagher's places, Jesse's at Kaizen, Joseph, J.C. Holdway. We love Mahasti. I mean, Tomato Head's been a staple for me since college. I live in Bearden area. One thing, I was just thinking about this. I wanted to Knoxville, the most underrated food going in Knoxville is our international food community.
Yeah.
And we don't have a ton downtown, but you start going west, you've got Ethiopian, you've got Laotian, you've got Korean, you've got 2 Vietnamese restaurants that are all really good. So I tend to eat, because I do live in the Bearden area. I mean, I had sitar last night, Indian. So, I like a lot of those places a lot.
Okay. Jonathan?
I mean, he covered them all, didn't he?
And also you all, with the Taste and Toast, you work with a lot of breweries around town.
Yeah.
So that's really kind of helped bring that benefit together, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, we try to go local as much as we can.
Okay. Do you get around so you're talking about Bearden, do you all get around to the parks around town?
Not as much as I'd like. My family's into mountain biking, so we go out to Baker's Creek a lot in South Knoxville, kind of all the new mountain bike trails. But other than that, I don't get to a ton of parks.
I like to run, so I'll go, North Shore. It's that park at North Shore.
Oh, yeah, I live right next to it. The old Lake.
I don't know why I've forgotten the name of it.
Lakeshore.
What's the one?
It's Lakeshore.
Yeah, Lakeshore Park.
Lakeshore Park. Okay.
Lakeshore Park.
That was brutal.
I used to play a little more frisbee golf, so I'd go out to like Victor Ash and Morningside.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of my extent of park exploring.
But you also like to go biking, city biking.
Yeah.
Do mountain biking too?
Yeah, I did for about a week, and then my mountain bike got stolen. So, but I have a road bike.
We're keeping it positive, Jonathan. Keeping it positive.
It's someone in need.
Yeah, it was donated without my consent. But yeah, I do. I live, just in North Knox. So we in the spring and summer, me and my girlfriend or our fiance bike down here all the time.
Okay. And what do you think about the bike rental system that's recently been put in place?
I love it. I mean, I think it's a great idea. I think, especially since you are starting your community, not downtown can only grow so much. So now that things are happening across the river, I think that's an awesome way to kind of, downtown's pretty walkable, I feel like. But if you want to get across the river, or if you want to, go visit some of these places that are happening in North Knoxville, I think it's great for tourists and for locals.
So what do you think about the changes around town? Because even, Jonathan, since you've been here, it's even grown and gotten better since in that little bit of time. I find that interesting, talking to people who've moved here in the last 10 years. They're like, wow, it's grown so much. And being someone who grew up here, it's kind of like you have no idea how much it's grown.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Chris telling me not long before I moved here, like you said, people didn't come down. They didn't go to Market Square, but it's almost all I know. I mean, I've loved Market Square since I moved down here. The old city, I really like the old city. And I really personally like the direction it's going right now. You know, when I was a younger guy who stayed out all night, I may have liked the old direction down there, but I like the restaurants. I like the bars too, but the Old City's probably my favorite.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean it's shocking to me. I mean personally, it's great for our business, you know.
Right.
But you know, when I was a kid, I skated a lot, and we used to come down here in packs, like middle school kids, do whatever we want, go wherever we want. And we had the unfair, nobody stopped you. There was nothing here. I mean, it was almost like a post-apocalyptic town at times, like, especially when the sun was going down.
Yeah.
So it's been amazing. And I've noticed it kind of all over the South, really. Cities like Louisville, Chattanooga, you're just seeing a real
a rebirth
of all these cities, and I love it. Actually, I love it for traveling. I love it for Knoxville.
So, what do you think the future holds for the city? Or can you even predict?
I mean, I certainly couldn't predict it, but at the same time, I don't. There was a while there where people were like, "Oh, the bubble, downtown. This isn't going to last." That I don't believe that.
No.
I believe it's only getting better. I think again because you have such a tight knit community, and people love this town, and I think everybody's got its best interest, putting their best foot forward. And we're excited about this development that's going to happen down here eventually. I mean, there's just so many projects in the works, and people keep moving down here that, I don't see it really slowing down. I mean, eventually it will.
Baseball stadium.
Baseball stadium. Baseball stadium.
Yeah, hopefully so. I don't know. Yeah, that's
now I would
that's
like
one I'm
to
holding
see.
out.
If we're being honest, one thing I would like to see in downtown Knoxville is, and talking about the baseball stadium, is I do think we need more stuff to do that's not food and bars.
Diversity.
Yeah, we need some diversity. I would like to see more shopping down here, and some sort of, be it a kids museum or just something that brings a little more tourism in.
Right.
Something to do, with your family.
Right. And where can folks follow Sweet Peas? Online website, social media?
SweetPeaBBQ.com. We're
Facebook,
Twitter, Facebook,
Instagram.
There you go. Thank you all for being on.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having us.